เปิดยังครับเปิดแล้ว
ได้ยินป่ะโอเค
Good afternoon from Bangkok. Welcome to Minor International's investor presentation for the first quarter of 2012 performance. We are pleased to have two executives with us today, Mr. Chayapat Paitoon, Vice President of Strategic Planning, and Mrs. Juthatip Adunpan, Investor Relations Directors. We'll start off with the first quarter of 2012 result recap, followed by the path to our 5-year aspirations. After the presentation, will be available for the Q&A session where you can submit your questions online. And today's presentation will also be available on both Minor International's website and the Stock Exchange of Thailand's website for rerun. And now I would like to pass it on to our management to begin with the presentation. Thank you.
We'll start off with the first quarter results recap. For first quarter revenues, we reported revenue of about 8.8 billion baht, which is our record revenue for the quarter, up about 32% from the same quarter last year. This is mainly from the strong performance across all of our businesses, including the hotel portfolio. And also we started to consolidate Oaks since July of last year. So comparing first quarter of this year to first quarter of last year, we have the Oaks performance coming in. And we also have the momentum of the sales of the real estate project, including both the St. Regis and also the Estate Samui and Anantara Vacation Club, which continued the strong momentum as well. And for the restaurant business, they are still seeing consistent growth in terms of revenue. And if you look at revenue breakdown in first quarter, hotel and mixed use account for 52% of revenues, whereas restaurant account for about 39%, and retail trading account for the remaining 9%. In terms of EBITDA, we saw an increase of about 49% from the same quarter last year as a result of the increase in revenues and also, of course, the better profitability. Because of the hotel operations seeing improvement in terms of occupancy, we're seeing the flow through to the EBITDA, and as well as the two hotels that we just opened, St. Regis and Anantara Kihawa, that we opened in 2011, started to perform. They're seeing high occupancy of between 60 and 80%. So we're seeing profitability flow through as well, and the steady growth of the restaurant business. Net profit, as a result, increased by 55% from the solid performance of the three businesses. And if we go into the path of our 5 years aspiration, I'd like to first recap of what we said last quarter about our 5-year strategy. So in terms of our goals, we would like to see net profit of growth of about 15 to 20% on average over the next 5 years, with ROIC of over 15%. And the way we're going to achieve that will be through three main strategies. The first one is we'll develop profitable portfolio of our own brands, which means for the hotel business, Anantara, Oaks, and Avani. And for the restaurant brands that we own include the Pizza Company, Thai Express, Coffee Club, and Ribs and Rums. The second strategy is we would like to continue to increase the profitability and productivity or efficiency of our businesses. So that means through asset-light model, franchising for restaurant business, and through management contract for the hotel business. And in addition to that, we'll also we also have our mixed-use initiatives such as Anantara Vacation Club, as well as the residential sales as well. And the last strategy is we'll expand through international acquisitions, just like what we did with Oaks last year as well. And in terms of our diversification, we would like to see our revenue increase, revenue contribution from international increase from 25% today to about 40% over the next 5 years, and the net profit to increase from 15% contribution from international to about 51% over the next 5 years as well. In terms of number of rooms, today we have about 67% of our hotel rooms in the international market. We would like to see it increase to about 75% over the next 5 years. Similarly with the restaurant business as well. Today we're seeing 34% international outlets. In the next 5 years, we would like to see 43% contribution. And going into the strategy of each of the business separately, the first one is the hotel group. Over the next 5 years, we are going to be expanding through our own brands. So that includes Anantara, Oaks, and Avani. And in addition, we have other hotels, invested hotels that are under third-party brands such as St. Regis, Four Seasons, and also Marriott. So we'll be growing that organically as well. And the last two strategies is we're going to be expanding through our mixed-use initiatives, so Anantara Vacation Club, which we launched in about December of 2010, and also the residential property projects, which currently we have 2 projects, St. Regis in Bangkok, and also the Estate Samui in Samui. And we'll also be, over the years, we'll also be looking at other projects as well. Going into financial performance for the hotel group, we are seeing 60% increase in terms of revenue to about 4.6 billion baht in the first quarter of this year. That's attributable to the overall occupancy of the Mint hotel portfolio that has increased about 7% from the same period last year, as well as the ADR, the room rate increase from the same period last year. And the 2 new hotels, Anantara Key Hava in the Maldives and St. Regis, which reported losses in 2011 when we started the operation of these 2 hotels, became positive and started to contribute in terms of EBITDA already in the first quarter of this year. And of course, the consolidation of Oaks also helped the increase, and the momentum of sale of real estate business continued to be strong for both St. Regis residences, and this year is we sold 1 villa in the Estate Samui, which we stopped selling since 2008, and this is the first year that we were able to sell 1 more villa, so that's a good sign, and hopefully we'll be able to sell 1 to 2 units going forward. And of course, the Anantara Vacation Club is still remaining doing well with strong momentum in first quarter of this year as well. In terms of statistics, first quarter of this year, we're seeing occupancy of 73% for Mint overall portfolio. There are 2 components to that. One is the Oaks occupancy, which is quite high. They're stable at around 75 to 80% every quarter. And also Mint-owned portfolio of hotels also saw improvement. Last year the occupancy was at 60%, and this year our occupancy was at 67% in the first quarter of this year. So that's still 7% improvement from the same period last year. And in terms of ADR, we are seeing well, if you look at overall portfolio, it's a decrease of 9% because of Oaks. The Oaks ADR is a little bit lower than our Anantara ADR. But if you look at like for like, which means comparing Anantara this year to Anantara in the first quarter of last year, ADR was actually up by about 7%. So it was an improvement for the overall portfolio. Mainly still from international hotels. In hotels in Thailand, we're still seeing about flat ADRs, but the hotels in the mall